Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Variant Cast. I'm here with the co-founder and only other member of the Jeremy Allen White fan club, Trent. How you doing today?
Doing good. Just repping Jeremy Allen White every day of my life, And
Hey,
this is the place to do it.
Ja is law. Got it tatted on my sleeve. We are back at it again with some content. This time we got some Scott Pilgrim versus the World first time watch. You probably aren't gonna find two 24-year-old dudes that have not seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World because it kind of came out right in our wheelhouse. We were 14 when it came out, but both of us were just like, nah, I don't need to see it. It's got that weird Michael Cera dude. He kind of looks like a rat. I don't know if I'm down with that. But watched it today and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so obviously directed by Edgar Wright. I think this is probably the movie a lot of people think of when they think of Edgar Wright movies, interestingly enough. And it definitely has that kind of visual appeal to it, as well as just kind of his fingerprints all over it in that sense. But it's an interesting movie because like when I was kind of looking up some reviews after watching it, very rangy, and I think I don't want to say correct opinion because whatever opinion you have on this movie is whatever. I think the most balanced take is it's a good movie that is entertaining, but it doesn't have a whole lot of substance story-wise.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really matter because there's just so much going on the screen that if it had a story, it would be incoherent. So it kind of doesn't really have too much of a story. And that's an interesting kind of aspect of it. What do you think of the movie?
Yeah, it's a very interesting premise. And like you said, I feel like there isn't a lot to the story. It's very basic. But I think that it does very well with like how it's visually representing things, as far as like the fight and like how people feel and how people like the thoughts that people have. I think that was all like really well conveyed in the movie, which I guess you wouldn't really get that if it was jam packed with story.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of the jokes wouldn't really make sense if there was too much exposition on how these things worked. You get a little bit into it about being vegan or whatever, their crutches, but they don't go too far into it, and it's more just kind of played for laughs most of the time. I will say, like, the parts I really liked were just the interactions between the band. I think that the band didn't get enough show in it. I obviously already can't remember their names, even though I watched it 20 minutes ago. Other than Neil, I remember young Neil, or Neil as he came to be at the end.
Yeah, there was there somebody named like Hugh or something?
Maybe. It definitely might have been.
Stills.
I have the IMDb in front of me right now, and I don't even know. Kim.
Yeah.
Kim and
really great names all around in this movie. Knives Chow, great name.
Hey, Gideon Graves, perfect name.
Yeah.
See, awesome name. But then there's Kieran Culkin's character is like almost the best character, but also he's there for no reason. At the same time. It's a really interesting kind of, you kind of think that he's going to have an arc at some point. There's never an arc with him.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't think most of these characters have arcs. I think the only one that has an arc is Scott, and then maybe Knives and Ramona. But pretty much everyone else is just kind of there as comedic relief, and that's obviously fine. It's like it comes in at about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. So not a whole lot of time to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think just visually extremely strong. All the things that I gave props to like the Marvels about, where the pacing's kind of weird, but like you're never bored. This is it done like correctly, not
Yeah.
just stuff happening.
Yeah.
This is paced well, I think, in the sense that if you're gonna not have a story, if you're gonna have like just these objectives where it's almost laid out like a video game, I guess
Yeah.
that's kind of a perfect way to describe it. It's like a video game story as a movie.
Hmm.
uh, Video game stories have always been kind of notoriously shallow. They have to fit in like these weird collectibles or just like missions. So like the 7 deadly X's or whatever
Yeah.
is there. There's a bit of dated humor in it, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Like the part that's probably most noticeable is just the stuff with how they treat the bi character as purely like a sexual conquest, which is
Yeah.
just something you don't really see anymore. But that's 2010, baby.
Hmm. Yeah. I yeah, I enjoyed a lot of the ways that I don't know. I liked all the like all the different X's and how they all had like their different backstories, and even though that they didn't really have an arc, but which um we'll maybe get into the new TV show at a later date, but I think all these things that you're saying, Ty, I think you'd really enjoy the TV series.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking is like, in case you're wondering, we watched this because we wanted to talk about the TV series as it just came out on Netflix, but we neither one of us had seen it. So
Yeah.
we're watching this movie, and then I'll have all 8 episodes watched by next week. So if you're interested in the thoughts on the TV show. But yeah, I was sitting there thinking while watching it, like the animated kind of like flashbacks where she's like talking to she's like explaining the X's, and it's like in this animated style. Like those
Yeah.
were some of the best parts of the movie.
Mhm.
And I didn't even know that it was animated until I looked it up after. And like that just solves 90% of my issues with the movie, it being animated, because like this just seems like it should be an animated movie.
Yeah, it's a very like Looney Tunes like world where it's just like anything, like a man could come bursting through the ceiling, and then like this skinny like a scrawny kid could just like, just punch him back. So
Yeah.
it really is like anything could happen, but it's really fun.
Yeah, and I love that they kind of ease you into it. Like the start, they kind of play with doorways a lot in the
Yeah.
movie, and I think that's some of the coolest shots they have are with the doorways. But they also like have this one scene where he's at a party and he's like, "Have you seen this girl?" And it's Ramona. And it's just like a newspaper. And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah, that's Ramona." And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
This guy. There's people with like mythical abilities, and then I find out later on that yeah, there are people with mythical abilities.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have this movie spoiled for me in the last 10 years, but it's really good. I would recommend it if you haven't seen it. It's definitely like a piece of pop culture with its flaws and everything. Don't expect to go in watching this like groundbreaking like story or anything.
Yeah.
But if you want to get high, get drunk, relax with a few friends, and watch something stupid, it's well made stupidity, and that's I think a pretty big compliment for it.
Yeah. Who do you think was your favorite performances in it?
I mean, pretty much anytime Kieran McCulkin's in anything,
Yeah.
I fucking love him. But I am not 100% sure the point of Aubrey Plaza's character, Julie. Don't
Yeah.
really understand. Kind of felt like there was a scene at the end that should have been had that just wasn't had.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like a director's cut of this movie or something, or just like there's probably deleted scenes. I imagine if this movie was like 20 minutes longer, it might be more coherent, but it also might be worse.
Yeah.
So who knows? Really liked Ellen Wong as Knives Chow.
Yeah. She was really great.
She was really, really good. It almost feels like the movie would have been better with her as the main character.
Yeah.
And you can keep the title Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but like I feel like she had just a more interesting kind of arc to me. Like that one scene of her dyeing her hair blue with her friend that is just never named or gets the line. And then she gets the highlights smacked out of her, which was also enjoyable. So
yeah,
if I had to give it to anyone, gotta give it to Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, Kieran Culkin's really great. I also really like Brandon Routh as Todd, even though he was only in it for a short bit. The dude with the white hair.
Oh right, yeah, no, he killed it.
Yeah,
I mean, pretty much everyone killed their role. Like Chris Evans as whatever his name was. I knew he was in this movie. I thought he had a more prominent role, so I was just kind of like
just
because
the way that people talk about it, and people are like Chris Evans in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, but no, it's basically a glorified cameo.
Yeah,
or he gets pretty much the same amount of play as any of the other X's, maybe a little bit more than the first guy, a little bit less than everyone else, but
yeah,
he's there. He's sure there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I loved the end bit with the microchip.
Yeah,
that was just like the ending's incredibly weird. Spoilers for a 10-year-old movie that is like a cultural like moment in time, by the way. The ending is one of the weirdest things ever, where like Ramona leaves Scott. Then it is later revealed in a dream that they established earlier in the movie that they could communicate through dreams. It is revealed in her dreams that she has a microchip that like is altering her thoughts, so she can't get him out of his head or out of her head. And then that's like just never elaborated on how he installed whatever. There's a lot of things that aren't elaborated on. And then he kills him, and that deactivates the microchip because he's dead. It was one of those death-based microchips, luckily. And then, like he has to fight himself. Like they set it up, like, oh, now you have to fight your real enemy, and it's like Nega Scott, and they kind of set it up like he's gonna fight him. And I knew they were gonna do some sort of joke because it's like they very obviously had the climax of the movie. They weren't gonna have another big fight scene. That would be silly. And that, sure enough, they kind of cut away, and then they both just go off into the world. I do want to know, is that elaborated on at all in the animated show?
So
does him show up?
I haven't got to that point in the show yet, but the animated show, it's like a completely different story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but it kind of it retells like the 7X's thing.
Yeah, you'll just have to see.
Gotcha.
I don't want to spoil anything.
All good. I was just wondering if it was like a continuation or it was a reboot, or not a reboot, but just like a retelling. Because this is an adaptation, right, from a comic book.
Yeah. So it's explained in the TV show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll get on that. I'll probably watch a few episodes tonight.
Yeah.
And I'll have that by next episode. But
it's hard to explain, but
yeah, I get you. Overall, I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5. If you check out my Letterboxd, that's what it'll likely have. It's enjoyable. I'll watch it again. But it didn't really. In 2010, I guess that's the tough part is like if I watched this in 2010, I think I would have been a lot more like blown away by the visuals and
Yeah.
just like whoa, video game graphics in a movie,
Yeah.
in a big budget movie.
2 years before Pixels came out. I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on, man. Pixel's the true innovator. What is up with the cast here? Like, how? Why is this cast so insane?
I don't know. I think that
Like, right time?
Edgar Wright, yeah. Edgar Wright isn't even known. Like, I feel like he wasn't even really known for, like, he was known for like Shaun of the Dead, but that was like a really small movie. But yeah, this cast is just insane.
Wild stuff. I mean, I will forever be upset at the MCU for not making things work for Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man's a fine movie, but I really think it could have been one of like the best MCU movies ever if Edgar Wright was on it. Just because at that time, I mean, right now, honestly, get Edgar Wright in here.
Yeah.
Right now, we need him. But at that time, it really feels like it would have been something that would have really popped off. That's
definitely.
peak MCU, James Gunn's Guardians, and then if you had Edgar Wright's Ant-Man right there next to it, that would have been
and especially crazy. Especially if you would have done it before Guardians, if you would have done it phase 1 or phase 2. I guess he kind of was. No, he wasn't introduced till phase 3. I don't think. Maybe at that very very end of 2. But it was originally planned to be like a Iron Man style origin story.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be earlier. I think it was supposed to be at the end of 2, or like it was going to be the movie right after Ultron or something. I don't remember. That was like 100 years ago at this point. But major missed opportunity. Probably you could probably make a list of the MCU's missed opportunities when it comes to directors, and I kind of wanted to talk about some of those as we get into the phase 6 of the MCU. I guess we're not there yet, obviously, but or I guess phase 5 ends in 2015. We got phase 6 coming up, and I think phase 6, if you look at it and you're like, okay, phase 5 is going to be a wash. We fucked up phase 5. I think you could definitely have a couple hits with Deadpool 3, but Captain America Brave New World is currently has a mountain to climb, and it also has like a bag of rocks on their back.
Yeah, while simultaneously trying to push a boulder up a hill.
Yeah, it is an insurmountable task. I don't know how this movie is good.
Yeah.
I guess I could tell you how the movie's good. It's a self-contained, like, I don't know, like war or crime movie, espionage movie. If you do that kind of stuff, it could be a good movie, but that's not what they're going to do.
Yeah.
This is going to be the Civil War before Endgame. That's what they need it to be. And I don't know how they're going to do that. Obviously, Sebastian Stan will probably be in it. You're going to have Harrison Ford, right? Or is he in? Okay,
nope,
I wasn't sure. He was Thunderbolts.
They're Bucky's also in Thunderbolts. So there's going to be a crossover.
And I'll get to Thunderbolts in a minute, but the director of Captain America: Brave New World is Julius Ona. He's directed 4 movies, and last one he directed was in 2019, and it was Loose, which I have never heard of. The one he did that you have heard of is he directed the Cloverfield Paradox. He did not write or produce it like he did his other movies. It is the only one that he just directed. And I think that's a good movie if I remember correctly.
Which one?
Cloverfield? No, never mind. Cloverfield Paradox is bad. I got that confused with something else. Cloverfield Paradox has a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. Uh, yeesh. So I think the MCU has definitely created kind of a trend of going after directors that uh, best thing you'd say are no names. I don't think that's disrespectful. There's only about let's be real. There's about 30 to 40 directors that have like names that you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa. They got
Yeah, it seemed like for a point in time, Marvel was good at finding directors that had like one or two projects that looked promising, or
right.
even Chloe Zhao, who directed The Eternals. She won a goddamn Oscar.
Yeah, she was
Like 2 years
coming off
before.
a Best Picture, right?
Yeah.
It was yeah.
So and I'm pretty sure she signed on. She signed on to it. Actually, no. I think she signed on afterwards. But yeah, they had like a. I feel like they had a good record of getting people who were relatively new, but could tell like grand stories, or not, like Peyton Reed, like with the first Ant-Man, and even the second Ant-Man I thought was good.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
the
go ahead.
Quantum Mania, he just kind of felt like he was out of his depth.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the best way to put it. I like Quantum Mania because I like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but that's not necessarily what you want from your hundreds of millions of dollars production. So
Yeah. Um
go ahead.
I felt like one of the things that like was my problem with Quantum Mania was it felt like after watching Peyton Reed's episodes of The Mandalorian, they filmed all inside the LED wall that they
Right.
have at Disney now, and it felt like all of his Mandalorian episodes were kind of just like tests to see if he could like make a whole movie on that screen, and that's really kind of what it felt like to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that screen in particular is a big point of controversy inside like the Mandalorian discussion verse. And it's definitely getting to the point where we just need a fucking home-based or earth-based movie that has a superhero in it. It doesn't need to be this grand multiverse thing. It just needs to be a movie.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest worry with Brave New World is like Deadpool is going to do the multiverse stuff. Like we're going to get another like multiverse thing, and I think it's going to play well because it's going to be shitting on all the other multiverse things. And I think that's probably the best thing that they could have come out right now. But that being said, you're instantly going to go into Brave New World, and then what?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And I think that's their biggest kind of turning point of the entire franchise, if you're going to reboot it at Secret Wars or not. And obviously those discussions are happening, but
Yeah.
But then that goes into Phase 6, and with Phase 6 you have two directors right off the bat with Matt Shackman and Jake I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, Shaner or something like that. And Matt Shackman has directed one movie called Cutback in 2014, and that is the last movie he's directed.
But he also did WandaVision.
He did, and that's where he's getting this. And he also did an episode of The Boys. So there's definitely something with Matt, and I think there's definitely something with Jake as well. He's directing the Thunderbolts. He's like a music video director. He's a music video director from like the hip hop world.
We all know how that works out. Do you know what other director was a famous music video director?
Who?
Zack Snyder.
Oh, okay. Sorry, he's just so removed from that. I just see him as a visionary at this point.
Yeah, it's facts.
But he directed Paper Towns, which was like a Cara Delevingne movie in 2015.
I see. Sounds like a Hallmark
and
movie.
Yeah, and then he directed Chance the Rapper's Magnificent Coloring World, which was like a tour album thing. And then he's going to be directing the Thunderbolts. But don't worry, because he also directed the Graduation music video by Benny Blanco in Juice WRLD. Yeah, I like that music video. So
good video.
That's cool. And then he directed one episode of Dave, predictably, and one episode of Shameless. So he's been around things. He's done things. This is what is supposed to be his big break with the Thunderbolts. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But I really think that the Thunderbolts movie is a bit of a mistake. Not that I don't want to see it, not that it won't be good, but in the sense that we still don't have a Shang-Chi sequel. We still don't have like movies for characters that like we're expected to have movies by now, but whatever. We saw how that worked out with Black Widow. Maybe just don't make a movie for the sake of making a movie.
Yeah.
And if you do it, don't do it during a pandemic. That it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Shang-Chi thing is really like Shang-Chi should have been.
Yeah, he should have had 2 movies in this phase.
Shang-Chi should have been the Iron Man. Like it really should have been 2 movies in 4 years.
Yeah, they should have like greenlit the second one. Let's get going on that, and then release it maybe a year and a half later.
Especially since it feels like they're doing like the weapons, like the 10 Rings weapons are going to be like probably like Kang tech or something like that. Like the tech is going to be involved in whatever's going on with the multiversal stuff. And it's like, I feel like you could have really built that up, especially if those are like your Infinity Stones. Yeah. Infinity Stones were in every single movie leading up to it. And the Avengers were in every, like, were the titular characters. You knew who was going to be in the Avengers. Like, we're sitting here not knowing who the Avengers are. And there's supposed to be an Avengers movie in 2026. So, yeah, I guess they got a lot of explaining to do as we move forward into 2024 as we wrap up what has been a interesting year in the world of entertainment with the actor and writer strike that definitely messed some things up. Yeah. Messed some things so badly that Sebastian Stan is now playing Donald Trump in a
I saw that.
That's
so
film.
Wild.
Like, how did we get here?
I have no clue.
He kind of, I mean, when you put any 2 people like next to each other in a picture, I could always be like, okay, I kind of see it.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking at a picture of them like next to each other right now.
Did you see the picture of him as Donald Trump?
I haven't.
There's a picture that just released. You gotta look that up.
That is hilarious. I'm gonna see it. I'm just gonna Google Sebastian Stan. I'm just hoping it comes up first. But I mean, what a role to take at this moment. Yeah. With all the things. Oh,
and it's like playing him in like an Apprentice movie or something.
He almost looks more like Boris Johnson in that wig. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he does not really look like Donald Trump in that picture. But hey, it should be interesting. I probably won't be watching that, I'll be honest, but who knows? Yeah. Have you watched Lady Ballers? I have not watched Lady Ballers yet. I have to be getting on that because I have to like actually do that. But God, man, that sounds rough. That sounds like an
actual slog to get through. But I'm gonna do it. Not tonight because I'd honestly rather watch the Scott Pilgrim show. So I'm gonna do that.
Wait for the Donald Trump movie to come out and then do a double feature. Just kidding. But
I don't. Yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of double features, one that I saw in the theaters was Barbie and Oppenheimer, which I watched Oppenheimer for the second time this week, a couple days ago.
I saw they kind of, I think it was Margot Robbie and someone else like talked about like the phenomenon that was Barbieheimer.
It was her and Cillian Murphy. They were on Actors and Actors.
Nice.
There's a bunch of good. I think it's Vanity Fair does those, but it's like great actors on actor interviews. They did one that was Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo that just came out. That one's good. That's and cool. They did Margot Robbie and Cillian Murphy, and they were talking all about Barbie and Oppenheimer and the phenomenon that with it. And speaking of that, that was a great point of I think that was during the summer. Great time to be a fan of movies, and
I think there's a lot of discussion, and every once in a while when some stupid movie comes out, everyone's trying to like do the next Barbieheimer. I was early on the Barbie being a box office smash. Like once I heard Margot Robbie got cast, I was like, all right, this movie's gonna do numbers. Then you hear Ryan Gosling, okay, this movie's probably gonna be good. It's gonna do numbers. So I think Barbie would have succeeded regardless of the Oppenheimer thing. I think that movie still probably does the same numbers that it does regardless.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less.
I think if anything, Oppenheimer benefited from it more.
I think so. I don't think a lot of people knew what Oppenheimer was when it came out. It wasn't like a heavily marketed movie. Most Christopher Nolan movies aren't, because they're just sold based on the fact that it's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not like a white guy in your 20s to 30s, you don't care about it being a Christopher Nolan movie. So it was an interesting thing, and everybody's, even studio executives are trying to like capture the magic of Barbieheimer. It'll never happen again. Yeah. You're never going to get that perfect of a setup at that perfect of a time, because also like context matters. We had just spent the last 2 years in a pandemic when like we couldn't go to movies. Like 2023 was our first like, COVID's dead.
Yeah.
We're getting lit and we're going to movies.
Yeah.
And Barbie's coming out. Christopher Nolan movies coming out.
Yeah.
They're coming out the same week. It's a double feature. And then the internet kind of just did what the internet does and
did all the marketing for them.
Took on its own life. Yeah. Fucking Sony's upset about that. Like, hey, we had a viral meme and no box office success. What's up with that?
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, I rewatched Oppenheimer again. I hadn't seen it since I did that double feature in the theater.
Okay.
When I went to watch, I wasn't planning that day that I watched both of them to actually do a double feature. I was flirting with the idea, but after watching, I think I watched Barbie. It was like a 10 a.m. showing or something. I was like, you know what? I'll just go hit up Oppenheimer afterwards. Let's do it. This is a once in a lifetime Barbenheimer event. You know, it's not the opening weekend isn't gonna come again, so I gotta do it. So, and I do not regret it. I think that watching Barbie before Oppenheimer, if you were to do a double feature, would be the way to go, because like Oppenheimer, I feel like leaves you with a lot to question. Like it's a heavy plate to sit through, but like Barbie's a little bit lighter, but I do think that they pair well together if we're talking about the double feature.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate Oppenheimer for I guess bringing some humanity to nukes. 'Cause, nukes on for the longest time have this kind of weird connotation with them, whereas some people understand what kind of atrocities they create, and some people think they're just a cool kill streak in Call of Duty. So let's try to widen that. Speaking of Christopher Nolan, I did want to talk about something that's been on my mind, and it's Interstellar.
Okay.
And it's I saw it was a meme that was basically like a IQ like scale thing where it's like IQ averages. There's very few people that are like low IQ that are like 50 IQ or below, and then everyone else is kind of in the 80 to 110 IQ range, and then the high IQ range it goes back down, so it makes like this little hump, right? And the meme basically goes that the hump in the middle of just like the average IQ is Interstellar is a masterpiece, and then the low IQ doesn't understand the movie because they're just too stupid to get it, and it makes no sense. And then the high IQ also agrees the movie makes no sense. And I appreciate that because I've been having a conniption's not the right word, but I'm going to use the word conniption over Interstellar and that movie's ending, that movie's third act, and everything. It upsets me. It's not good, and it ruins the movie for me, and I'm having a bad time with it all the time. And then I have to hear Nolan fans tell me, "Oh, you just didn't get it. You just didn't get it. Oh, go watch an MCU movie. You just don't get it." I do get it. It's stupid and it makes no sense. That is just my piece on that.
Interstellar is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, even after
third
after
act.
Oppenheimer. Even after Oppenheimer.
Third act.
Interstellar is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
I'm in agreement with you, but I also think the third act's terrible.
Yeah, you know what? You can't have everything.
I can though. I can because I'm gonna make my own cut of the movie that just edits out the third act. They just it ends on the water planet.
They just
and they don't die necessarily. It just ends. It could just end. We don't have to have a weird scene of his daughter being old,
or just like it ending with him just going into the black hole.
Yeah. Just cut it there. Credits. Boom. Don't do that weird stuff.
Nah, dude, that shit's dope. I mean, yes, it is a little bit convoluted, but when you're Chris Nolan and you can only fit so many minutes into an IMAX film camera,
right?
Things happen.
Then let's just end it going through the black hole. Why did we waste those precious IMAX minutes on some old lady sitting in a bed dying? Like, what was that? What's the point?
But like, if you don't get the black hole scene, then you don't get like the full circle. You don't get the full circle moment of the movie.
The full circle of the moment of the movie doesn't make any sense, though.
What do you mean?
Like
he literally,
I was
stuck in a time.
I was the ghost.
He was his own ghost.
He was his own ghost.
He was his own ghost.
he went through the black hole and he became his own ghost. Careful going through those black holes. You might become.
He's pulling the strings of making the dust be in a different place. Ty,
you're telling me in the infinite time and space of the universe, how was he able to find that bookshelf?
Because it was calling to him. It was fate. It was fate, Ty. He was his own ghost.
Gotcha. It was magic. Okay. We just say it was magic and we could move on. But yeah, Christopher Nolan. Shout out Christopher Nolan. Zack Snyder regains rights to Blood and Ashes, script originally pitched as 300 sequel.
Oh, damn. I did read something about this. So maybe we're getting another 300 movie.
It won't be called 300 because he doesn't. What's up with that? What's up with this? Why are we going through old Zack Snyder pitches and like? Because obviously you have Rebel Moon. Did Rebel Moon come out yet?
No, wasn't 300 like a graphic novel? Pretty sure.
That sounds right. That really does sound right.
So maybe he just wrote like a sequel and then was like, and then the company was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Fair enough.
But we'll take your script and we'll keep it anyways.
I mean, that's basically what he did with Star Wars, right? Did anyone ask him to write that script?
No, but but they didn't take it away from him. He just like went back and changed all the names so that, I don't even think that like they were going to be like known Star Wars characters. It was just supposed to be like a different era,
like Rogue One. I guess Rogue One is.
Yeah, it's more like there's a new show called like The Acolyte coming out where it's set in during the High Republic era. I'm pretty sure during the height of like the Jedi and the Sith. It's got the dude from Squid Game in it, the main dude from Squid Game, and then it's got Manny Jacinto, who played Jason in The Good Place. So yeah, that's like my most hopeful Star Wars project right now, I feel like, because it is set in a different place and not directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I got to get back onto Star Wars eventually. I stopped watching like pretty much all Star Wars after the sequels wrapped up. Yeah. And it's not anything with the sequels. It's more just with The Last Jedi. I'm just really not a fan of that movie and just the direction it went. Wait.
You're talking about The Rise of Skywalker.
No, Rise of Skywalker. I love The Last Jedi. I said it. So like, I love The Last Jedi, and I think it set up like the third movie so well. Mm-hmm. But then because of backlash, we got another J.J. Abrams movie.
Yeah.
And he just threw spaghetti at the wall, took a picture and called it art. Yeah. And it was rough, and it kind of just killed all the enthusiasm I had for Star Wars. Yeah. Because I realized that it wasn't like a creative thing. It was just purely based on what was going to sell the most toys, which it's like that's the world we live in. Yeah, that's the world.
Safest movie as possible. It felt like
we're gonna bring back Palpatine. We're gonna do all these callbacks. We're gonna have this massive battle in the end. It's going to look like shit, and everybody's going to go home happy. And I'm sure some 8-year-old is going to go home happy, and in 12 years, we're going to have a fucking resurgence with, the sequels are so good. Bullshit that we got with the prequels based on nostalgia. Shout out nostalgia. It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
But The Last Jedi is legitimately, like, the one good movie that, like, came out and everyone just shit on it. Like, there's a reason why you go to like The Last Jedi. What doesn't it have? Let's go. Trent's holding up like a collector's thing.
My steelbook of The Last Jedi, the last Star Wars I'll ever buy on a steelbook, because the Rise of Skywalker is dead to me.
It's a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I guarantee that 91% it has on Rotten Tomatoes, it isn't Star Wars fans Star Warsing out. It's people enjoying it because it's legitimately a good movie.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that the backlash that was created by what feels like bullshit really derailed what was going to be a really, really strong trilogy, because Force Awakens is bland, but it's a good like palate cleanse. It got me excited about Star Wars again. It was like, oh, look at all these things. This is interesting. It kind of feels like I feel like it would have felt in the 70s when you like first found out, like, holy shit, Luke Skywalker's father is Darth Vader. And like I was so into that. I was like, oh, who's Rey's like parents? I was so into that.
Yeah.
Figuring that out. And I remember being like, oh, I'm gonna be so bummed if it ends up being nobody, but that would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Like,
Other than just like trying to retcon stuff, like saying that it's one thing and then being like, oh, people didn't really like that, so we should probably change it.
probably. And completely like Finn's character, my goodness.
Yeah, just like they could have done so much more with him after episode 7. There was so much, yeah, there was so much promise there.
It's genuinely like sad to think about. I guess this is what the Snyder Bros feel, and I can sympathize with them here because like they felt like they were building to something with the Justice League and stuff, and it got derailed by tragedy, and that sucks. But those movies aren't okay. I'll chill. I'll chill. I'll chill. Heinz ketchup. They're making tattoo stencils.
Oh, okay.
That's not movie news, but
Where
it's
are they?
an ad.
What, like, are they just going to be like on the inside of the label? Are they going to be on the inside of the lid?
You know,
Maybe inside the ketchup.
that is not 100% clear. It's very like catchy advertising. They show, like, they kind of insinuate like, oh, we're gonna pay for you to get a Heinz tattoo, and like that's what got me. I was like, oh, you're gonna pay for it? I'll definitely get a Heinz tattoo. Why not? But then you go to their website and it doesn't really have too much about that. It just kind of takes you to their shop where they sell like a ketchup bottle costume for $45, which is a pretty decent deal for a ketchup bottle costume. I'll be honest. It was originally $99.99. But before I went on that rant, what I was saying is I need to get back into the Star Wars grind. Isn't there a Star Wars movie coming out?
No.
No. Okay. I just
no. There was a Taika Waititi Star Wars movie canceled. There was a Kevin Feige Star Wars movie canceled. There was another. I think there was another canceled Star Wars movie, but I'm pretty sure they are planning to do a Rey movie with Daisy Ridley, and maybe like a future, like a in the future.
Oh yeah,
Jedi rope in Baby Yoda, have him be part of the Grogu, have him be part of the Academy, and train the new generation of Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, I will be excited for that just because, like I said, I did feel like for Rey's character at one point, then obviously obvious, but that's one I'll definitely watch. I think that has some intrigue to it, and I think that's probably the things I'd be most interested in seeing. I don't really want to see more backtracking. Yeah. I want something new in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's tons of stories to be told, but like I don't really need another like origin story of any of that. Like I know a lot of people were with Luke, the Luke de-aging looking somewhat decent. They were like, "Oh, let's get a Luke movie. Let's do a Luke movie."
Unfortunately, that might happen because
for real.
Yeah, because so all of these shows, so The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, they're all supposedly leading to a movie, like a Thrawn movie, and like people like they have a de-aged Luke now. They have they experimented with the de-aged Leia, and
they sure did.
They can I mean, I'd hope that they'd use Alden Ehrenreich, but I don't even really think I feel like he's probably moved past that at this point.
Yeah,
as Solo. But I guess they did use a de-aged Harrison Ford for the Indiana Jones movie. So they got all those models in the inventory.
Did they kill Han Solo in Last Skywalker? Or did I imagine that?
They killed him in Force Awakens. Kylo Ren kills him.
Right. Didn't he show up again in the last?
Oh yeah,
Skywalker?
he shows up as like a Force ghost or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That man cannot escape Star Wars. I have a theory that he's just acting till he dies to escape Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
But I kind of love this little twilight of his career that he's got going on. It's very much like I'm gonna like lean into the cranky grandpa thing, and be a little bit quirky with it. Kind of seems like he's, I don't know, has a bit more levity than he used to.
Yeah.
Like in the 2000s, I feel like every interview thing I saw of Harrison Ford in early 2010s when all the sequels were coming out and rumored, and everyone's like, oh, is Han Solo gonna be in it? He sounded so pissed off.
Yeah.
Every single time. Yeah. So I like seeing him now. He's got a little bit more pep in his step. So shout out Harrison Ford. Can't wait to see him as the Red Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see what he does next, and excited to see what Star Wars does next.
Yeah, Disney has been struggling.
I think
been
the next thing that's coming out is Andor season 2. So hopefully that's as good as the first season, because first season was some of the best Star Wars content that we've got in the last. I'd say right behind The Last Jedi.
I'm excited to watch Andor eventually. Like I was saying before, I went on that Rise of Skywalker rant. I'm definitely excited to see like Mandalorian season 2. I watched the first 4 episodes of Mandalorian, and I was like watching them when they came out, and I was like looking at the discussion, and it was like episode 4 of Mandalorian that I decided, yeah, I'm just done with Star Wars, and haven't watched anything Star Wars related since episode 4 of season 1 of The Mandalorian. And it wasn't like it was a bad episode, and I was like, screw this. It was just I do like to see like what communities say about things, because I like having a pulse on that kind of stuff. It obviously doesn't matter that much at the end of the day, because money is a bit more important than like fans, but it all kind of culminates together. And it was just not fun, and I was like, screw this. But I care a bit less now. I think that was when I was like 18, 19, whatever. So it'll be nice just kind of watching through it without a weight on it, because I was just wanted the story to pick up when I was watching Mandalorian the first time. So I'm excited to do that, and we'll definitely kind of document that as I watch through them.
Yeah.
And we'll, at the end of it, have a big old tier ranking of Star Wars projects and media that I'm sure will be completely consensus and no one will disagree with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do want to say Rebel Moon looks like a Star Wars movie.
It's like dog water.
Well, no, just like I'm looking at the poster right now, and I thought it was a Star Wars movie, like Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon, yeah.
It's called Rebel Moon. Like it
yeah, it does look like a Disney Plus. It literally looks like a Disney Plus Mandalorian poster.
Yeah, and that has to be intentional.
Yeah,
like most 50-year-olds can't tell the difference between a PlayStation and a Nintendo Switch. They're not going to be able to tell the difference between Rebel Moon and Andor.
Yeah.
Like if I asked you, hey, which one of these is Star Wars, Andor or Rebel Moon? Everyone's going to be like, oh, Rebel Moon.
Yeah. I think I remember that Star Wars movie.
Yeah, Rebel Moon. That was that had
the second or third one, right?
The one guy in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah. Have you been watching anything recently?
So I've been trying to watch a movie like every day of December. So I've been
Little
on a
advent
grind.
calendar.
Yeah, I've been on a grind. So I watched Oppenheimer to solidify its place in my 2023 ranking, which we'll get to later in the year. We'll have an episode all about that.
Yup.
But I also watched a movie that just came out called The Holdovers. It's got Paul Giamatti in it. He's a actor from you might know him from such roles as Spider-Man 2 or The Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
and pretty sure wasn't he in Big Fat Liar?
That sounds right. Paul Giamatti and Big Fat Liar, that just flows. So I'm gonna say
pretty sure.
If he wasn't, he now is. So yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good movie. It's shot on film. Like it's all like 80s aesthetic. Even like the intros, they brought back the old Universal logo that was in like the first Jurassic Park movie, and it's all like this old timey. It's set in the 70s, and it really feels like like your Breakfast Clubs, your one of those types of movies. But it's a really
They're
charming.
So good at that.
What are you saying?
Like just like color filters and just like making cameras and lighting look like it did in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
that's something that like period pieces have always like missed the mark on, just because it's like as advancements in cameras happen, obviously it's hard to like get that same look, but we're finally getting to the point where we can put filters on things to give it that look. And it's really, really convincing. There was another movie that I watched that was similar. I think it was the Madam Web trailer. Actually, it's like a period thing.
Oh yeah,
or might be something else, but they're getting good at it. Is my point. Go ahead.
Was it the Iron Claw?
Yeah, it was Iron Claw. Yeah, we watched those movies like back to back. Check them out, the reactions on our channel if you haven't already. I think Garfield came out a little bit ago, and we have a Wonka up there as well. I'm sure there'll be more by the time you check. But yeah, Iron Claw, the A24 biopic of the Von Erich brothers, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. That sounds right. Yeah. It is a period piece, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah. So the Holdovers, it was really charming. Really, it was a really fun movie. It's about like this private school who it's set over Christmas break, and all the kids who like can't go home to their families for whatever reason are stuck having to just like live at the school with the teacher, and the teacher got stuck with having to be here over holiday because he like failed some rich student whose dad like pulled strings and made the principal hate him, or made the principal's life a living hell, so therefore he hates the teacher, but it was this actor, this main kid. His name is Dominic Sessa, and it's his first acting role, and he's just absolutely incredible. He's such a good actor. He has some really good emotional scenes. He has some really good comedic scenes, and I think he just hits the nail on the head with this role. And I'll be watching anything this man makes in the future.
Heck yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about just like watching movies. And if you come from like the sports world, I think it's a fairly natural thing. I love following like coaches or players as they go to different teams and following like their careers. Outside, everyone's got like their favorite team that they follow, but there's also like, just individuals that you like to kind of keep track on. And I think that's a really cool thing with the entertainment industry, and just how much access we have with stuff like IMDb and streaming services, that we're able to like keep up on these people. And that's super cool. I see like randomly, like if you look at certain actors, you'll see they're in lists, and it'll be like a list of someone made as like actors I'm following. I think that stuff's cool. Me with our Jeremy Allen White fan club, when the world finally knows who Jeremy Allen White is. We're almost there. I think being in a movie with Zac Efron, we're next step, but we're not quite to where he can be.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's
big
like a
bud-
meme right now. I feel like the Bears got him in like kind of like he's in a lot of memes, but
yeah,
yeah, I feel like he's gonna break through, get a
he's.
really big role.
I think he's where Jason Momoa was at Game of Thrones before Aquaman.
Yeah,
So he's like right in that level of like he's the meme guy because he looks interesting. Jason Momoa was meme because he was hot. I guess they're both meme because they're hot. So
yeah.
hell yeah.
My favorite is the one where he's just screaming and stirring the pot in the kitchen. That's
shout out we're talking about 2023 movies. I gotta double check that it's a 2023 movie because if you haven't seen it, it's 2022. So it won't be on the list, but I recommend if anybody's into like thrillers or just like finds like chef culture funny, watch The Menu.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's got Anna Taylor-Joy in it, and it is like the super like exclusive restaurant thing that has like, you know, those really over the top dishing, and there is some spectacular scenes in it. The best way I could describe it is it's like it's like a horror movie mixed with Knives Out a little bit. It's got a little Knives Out in it, so it's fun. It's fun. It's
Nice.
it's good. It's good. I recommend watching The Menu. It does suck that it's not a 2023 movie and it can't be included on there. But I have a lot of 2023 movies to get through. I'm gonna probably follow in your footsteps, watching one a day as I try to at least get to all the ones that I've been meaning to watch before the year's over.
Yeah.
So expect some thoughts on things like Blue Beetle. I haven't gotten to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta watch Blue Beetle. I'll probably watch Five Nights at Freddy's just to give my thoughts. It was one of the major movies, and hopefully it's short. Oh God, it's an hour and 50 minutes. Maybe not. Maybe I'll watch it on 1.25 speed like a podcast. And then I wanted to watch Leo. I'm not gonna watch the Winnie the Pooh movie. I watched Gran Turismo. That's a decent movie. Nothing crazy. Asteroid City I've been meaning to get to. A bunch of stuff. So
yeah, I haven't watched The Creator yet. It's from the director of Rogue One. Killers of the Flower Moon, the new Martin Scorsese movie that just came out today on not on streaming but on video on demand. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out. And
Lady Ballers
and Napoleon. Napoleon and Killers of the Flower Moon together, that's like 7 hours of movie right there.
Oh man, and I didn't even realize that 80 for Brady came out this year.
Oh damn, it came out this year?
I never watched 80 for Brady. If you guys haven't noticed by the set, I guess you can't really tell because there's also a Jameis Winston, but I am a Patriots fan. Grew up watching Tom Brady, so I was interested to watch it, but it also sounded extremely boring, so I was kind of in a crossroads there. But I'm gonna watch it, I think. But yeah, that is 2023. Not quite, but we got a couple weeks, and that is gonna be our show. We're not going to leave each other off with movies because we got enough movies to watch between the both. Yeah. Coming up, we are going to be having just some more edited content as well as that top 23 movies list. So if there's any movies that we didn't really say outside of like the obvious ones like Barbie, Oppenheimer, any of those really big movies for the year, it's the only two big movies of the year, right? Feel free, put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, and make sure to like and give us a rating if you're listening on Spotify. That definitely helps out a lot, and I'd really appreciate that. So thank you all for listening. We will see you next week for another edition of the Variant Cast.
Yep.
You have a great one.
Deuces. Thanks, guys.